Right now, let me show you. We got today's video that we're working on. We got a Dewalt bench grinder, and from what I read online, it should connect to our WEN 32-inch pedestal stand. So we're going to set that up because we're going to need to have a good grinder. I got a blade that I need to sharpen that's never been sharpened. It's one that you buy dull. It's on one of those manual weed cutters that you swing. And then also this winter coming up, it'll be about more than a year and a half since we got the mower, and those blades need to be sharpened too. So this winter we'll be sharpening those blades from the mower, so we're gonna need a grinder just to take care of that. So let's go ahead and set that up and see if it works. Let me show you the grinder and the stand. So this is the Dewalt DW758 8-inch bench grinder. They do have one that's smaller. I think it's a 6-inch, a little bit cheaper, but just for a little bit extra dollars, you just might as well get the 8-inch, in my opinion. For me, I don't have a bench grinder, so this is a good start. Didn't want to invest a ton of money in one of the high-end, really expensive, nice ones. And here is the WEN 32-inch pedestal stand. So it'll end up looking like this. Cast iron. I think this right now is going for about $56, so between $50 and $60 at this time in 2023. So the dog got in it here. So from what I read online, this is a great stand for the Dewalt. Of course, you know, there's obviously more expensive stands, but I didn't see any reason to go above this one at the moment. So let's see if it fits, and let's see if it bolts on. All right, let's unpack it. All right, we got our, looks like the top plate here, our water pot, nice desiccant. Here's our base, the foot. Here's the pole or column. All right, bolts and hooks. Is that it? Nice, yep, that looks like it. That was easy. Come here. There's my boy. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Okay. One bag has your hook, Allen wrench, and the tiniest screw, so don't lose that tiny screw. The other bag is all your lock washers, nuts, and 4 bolts. I'm just putting those in the water tray. Okay, it looks like everything's here. They almost had me chasing ghosts for a second. Chasing ghosts because they're set screws, but they've already installed them. So 1 here, 2 in the base, and 2 more in the post of the top plate. So, but other than the set screws, everything's here. 8 flat washers, 4 lock washers, they call them spring washers, 4 nuts, and 4 bolts. So everything's here. Let's get started. Okay, the first thing I noticed with this is this post sits in the bottom. It does not go through the bottom, so it has a little inner ring there that this is going to set in. So that's good. There's a hole here, but it's not obvious to me if this is the top or the bottom, whether the set screw is supposed to go in there. It looks like it might line up with that one or in the top, so that part's unclear to me at this moment. Perhaps it doesn't matter, but there doesn't seem to be anything here that describes that hole. What doesn't make sense is there's only 1 hole, but the bottom has 2 set screws, the top has 2 set screws. Doesn't make much sense. They must be for something else. The assembly is really easy. It's just the usual trying to figure out what the heck is going on in the instructions thing. I'm just going to adjust this so that the feet are on either side of this water pot and the table itself. Just trying to line up things in a nice way here. Okay, another interesting thing is the hole for the hook is right here, which they show in the exploded view, but they show it on the side in the picture diagram. Kind of strange. Kind of tough with big fingers and a tiny screw. Alright, let's see if I can get this with a screwdriver instead. Of course the water pot's there. Yeah, unfortunately I'm going to move that water pot because I'm not getting an angle on this. So that would be the one thing so far that I don't like. Just these things that take extra time. Okay, so far that's the only thing I really don't like is tiny screws, big old fat hands. Okay, all this other hardware they say is actually, all of this stuff is actually for mounting your grinder. So you can assemble the pedestal stand without even opening that bag, I think. Okay, just so you know, these bolts are pre-installed just to hold the bracket for the pedestal. So we won't be using those, it's just the others that we'll be using to go through here and hopefully get into these slots, I'd say in the middle. Okay, so far it looks like it's going to line up. I can see the air right through there. Or I can see the light, rather, through these holes, so we'll try it. Okay, right now I'm just going to check the Dewalt manual because I want to know if they can. It looks like it does not. The Dewalt does not come with mounting hardware, so I just wanted to be sure. Okay, there seems to be no description of a preferred way to put on the washers, lock washers, and nuts. So what I'm going to do is bolt and washer on top. Let's go ahead and do the other side just to make sure that we're lined up. All right, we're both through. Both of them went through the center holes on the pedestal. Okay, so now I'm going to do washer, lock washer, and nut on the bottom side here. So first our flat washer, lock washer, and then these are just nuts, not lock nuts. Let's do the next one here. Putting on the bottom washer, bottom lock washer, and then our bottom nut here. Okay, that's it. That was easy, relatively speaking. We're left over with extra parts. We got washers, lock washers, nuts, bolts, still extra because this Dewalt is just a 2-bolt assembly. I'm sure that the rest of them are 4 if you had 4 bolts to go in. But overall, super easy. Now, one thing that I've seen people do in the comments I've read everywhere is to fill your post. So this is pretty sturdy. I mean, I'm having to put probably up here a lateral pressure of maybe about 10 pounds of pressure to get that thing moving. So it could move if somebody were to bump it, a small child or something. So what I've heard people do is take it apart a little bit, turn this over, cap it on one side with a probably cardboard or something, and fill it with concrete and add some water and just let it sit. So let some concrete set in there, settle and harden, and then you got a much heavier post with a lot of like static inertia holding it down. So that's one option. Of course, you could bolt this to the floor. That would be the preferred option if you're not going to move it around. So overall, definitely an easy fit. It does work with Dewalt DW758 with the WEN pedestal stand. So let's go ahead and crank it up. I don't have the protective shields on here, so we're gonna not stand in front of it, but we're just going to fire it up and make sure that everything seems to be working and the pedestal's not moving. Definitely should install all of your shields though. Pretty cool though. Definitely some gyroscopic force, right? Like the gyroscope is causing it to turn because these are spinning. So it did move. I'm sure if you filled it with concrete, it would not move as much. All right, folks, while we're here, why don't we install everything else? Let's put our tool rest on, the eye shields, and the spark guards. Okay, the first thing that I noticed with the tool rest, aluminum recycle sign. It does feel like aluminum, but pretty nice. Another good thing about this is they pre-labeled everything, so that's really nice. This one's labeled tool rest, and this bag has eye shield tagged on it. Okay, the tool rests are labeled left and right. These brackets seem to be identical. Okay, it says the order is your spring washer, then your flat washer on these long bolts. That goes into our bracket. Okay, so for this model we just need one tooth washer. For the 756 it says there's an additional tooth washer and spacer that you'll need. But for us today we just need one external tooth washer. Okay, I'm having to thread the bolt onto the bracket and then the nut. Okay, then the next step is we just take two of our little bolts with two washers, and they're supposed to just thread straight into the assembly here. I'm just putting these on here loose. We're going to come back and tighten them in a little bit. Okay, so the next step is to install our spark guards. Just do a rough install. But once you install it, they say you should tighten it down to about 1/16 of an inch. So right above that wheel, 1/16 of an inch gap. So right now what I did was I just rested it on the wheel, lift up just slightly and crank down on the screws on these bolts, and there should be about a 1/16 of an inch gap. But of course, come back and tighten these. Make sure your wheel turns. So in this packet, these washers are the larger washers. I made the mistake of setting aside the larger washers. For the eye guards, those will be the smaller washers. Okay, here we go with our eye guards. We have the pin washer, and a spacer. So pin washer, spark guard, spacer, shield, and the little nuts. Okay. Once you get the nut started, it holds itself in place inside the shield visor there. So you can just turn your pin. It's just plastic, so we're not going to crank down too hard. Left side, we got our pin and washer, our spacer, shield, and then this tiny little nut. Alright, now I'm just going to adjust these spark guards. We're sitting on the wheel right now, so that's not good. I'm just going to lift up, still touching. Alright, just pull up a little bit. Alright, still, that's my fault. It's the other side grinding. So we can, that's about 1/8 of an inch, so we could probably move this one just a little bit down. Alright, so this is the one that's grinding right now against the spark guard. So as soon as we pull this up, we should have no sparks. We just need a 1/16 of an inch gap, just a tiny gap on each wheel here. Okay, I think this one's really small, 32nd of an inch or 1/16, and this one's between 1/16 and 1/8 of an inch probably. I don't have any spacers to test it, but that's about just eyeballing it. Okay, no scratching, no grinding. Everything's working. We got 1/16 of an inch gap on both of these guards, spark guards against the wheel. We'll come back and tighten these up. Our eye shields are here. Everything's looking good. So I think we're done. Overall, it looks good. I like it. I think I will come back and either mount this to the floor, or I think I might just come fill it with concrete like I've heard other people do. So. All right, y'all. Pedestal grinder, it's working. Okay, folks, happy Father's Day to all of you out there. All your fathers working hard. You know who you are. Grinding for the family, for the kids. Keep it up. If you like this video, let me comment, give us a like and a subscribe. We'll see you next time on Homestead, y'all. Enjoy your Father's Day. Here's to fathers.